Well, that was an adventure.
Yeah.
I still don't know what the fuck happened there.
It's like every week it's something new. Hey, we're powering speed again. Hey, you didn't say it's Monday.
No, I didn't, because I'm discombobulated.
Yeah, no. Well, it's Monday. 908-751-0211 in case you want to call.
And I'm just looking at somebody that was texting me, are we having a podcast tonight, isn't even online yet. You know, it's like if he's so excited about it, you'd think he would be here already.
He's a douche.
Otherwise, share us, like us, Facebook, iTunes, all the fun stuff.
Shit.
Nice going, Todd.
Hey, there's the fireman.
Yeah, it's just been there for a while.
Yeah, just if anybody was wondering, we went to come on, and I have a whole soundboard full of stuff.
It was gone.
Like how about a Fresca?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tad, I lost Tad's Awesome.
Man.
I got to go find that thing.
Wow.
I don't want to have to go pull that out of an old show. That's going to suck.
Yeah.
But I had a whole bunch of, the whole soundboard just came up, add a sound here. And I'm like, really? Right now?
Nothing.
It was fine last week.
All you got is in and out.
That's all I got. So no, I don't use the sound thing too often. I mean, I use it for this, and that's about it for the start of things. All right.
Hey, Nitro Scott's on. What's up, Libby?
How about that memo, huh?
Hey, they got their own memo.
I know they got their own competing memo. We don't have to get into politics.
No.
That'll make people a little twitchy.
Hey, we had another guy send us a message on Facebook Messenger.
Still boycotting.
He made I know. He made a whole bunch of suggestions on people to have on. Brian Tooley, John Bewley.
There's Mo.
Everybody ends with a Y. Texas Speed. Some good, he had some good ideas.
Sure.
But in the middle of the thing, he says, "Hey, just so you know, I'm a very conservative liberal."
Yeah, I read that one.
That's like saying Alan is a very intelligent,
Idiot.
I don't know,
moron. Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
They don't go hand in hand.
He felt compelled to say that. Maybe he's fiscally conservative. Maybe he's a cheap ass liberal.
All right. Well, since you brought up Alan, I
didn't bring up
your fault,
but okay. I'll play along.
I have to just give the listeners
feed the crowd
the news of Alan's 850 drag week combination.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
He is going to buy a Hell Crate.
Okay.
And drop it in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Some mild tune-ups to get it to 1,000 to the back tire. 950 he thinks he can get away with. And he's going to go race.
Wait, he's going to get 950
at the tire.
Like it is.
From a Hell Crate.
Dodge can't do that, right?
Well, they can get...
Well, not under warranty.
I don't even know. I mean, this is one of those things, do you even start to talk about it? Because it is beyond me. And look, I know your particular feelings for Alan. I like Alan. Alan is a good guy. He means well. He's a little stupid, but he's a good guy.
Okay.
Stupid isn't even the word. Maybe.
Stupid's one of them.
Stupid is stupid
okay. You talk me into it. I can't understand the price of that thing. It's like $17,000 with an ECU. And I think you need more than just that. I don't think you can buy just the engine and ECU and drop it in a car. From reading little bits about it.
I don't know. Is that supercharged?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
So it's got some kind of big Magnuson on it or something. Somebody's eating, whatever.
I don't know. I don't know enough about the Chryslers. I don't.
Yeah. Somebody knows.
But I'm having a hard time figuring out here. And I don't know much about the Chryslers. I don't. I don't either. I don't know how good certain heads are. I don't know how good any of this is. But it would seem to me that if you had $17,000 to $18,000 to devote to a motor that we know makes, what do they make? 707? Isn't that what they made?
Yeah.
That's their big thing. Forget about that. We got this one. You're good. Ted's scurrying to look something up so he doesn't get yelled at because I just yelled at him before. If they made 707 at the crankshaft, I'm missing the part where we get to
1,000.
Well, I think he said 950 in fairness.
Okay.
To the back tire. I don't quite, I mean, I realize you could put a smaller pulley on it. I know there's things, and people were talking about porting the blower.
250 horsepower, that's easy.
But it would seem to me like this would be a real stretch in the imagination. Now, if you go the opposite direction and you said, okay, I've got $17,000, I've got a couple core Chrysler engines. And again, don't know good heads from bad heads. I'm sure there's different ones from, different, generations, like the 5.7 head, the 6.1 head, whatever they are. Sure, one of them's better, but they're all factory heads. If we took an LS 4.8, there's people that have made insane amounts of power with a regular cylinder head. Could a Chrysler Hemi cylinder head be that much worse than, say, a conventional GM cylinder head?
No, they're about the same. I mean, I think the Hemi's a little better than the new 6.4.
So I'm just trying to come up with this here. That if you had $18,000 to spend in one shot, and you already had core motors,
would you blow it on just one new motor?
Doesn't it make sense to get some headers made, a pair of turbos, an intercooler, run a nice aftermarket computer you're not going to run into limitations with, and
but everybody else is doing it,
and probably make more?
I can't say what I want to say, right?
Sure you can.
Don't you know the target of this whole thing is to just keep pushing it down, kicking the can down the road? That car's never getting done, man. Come on, stop it.
I know he'd like to get it done.
Oh yeah, well he'd like to land on the moon too.
He
might one day.
I took the other side to this, and I told Jeff this. To me, I couldn't help but wonder if this is. I'm trying to think. There's probably a term for this, but the pre-baked-in excuse as to why the performance wasn't where it was, because it's going to be like, yeah, but you guys have turbochargers. Yeah, but you guys are using LS. I'm trying to do with a Chrysler. You got to cut me some slack.
Why?
Well, I don't think so.
No.
I'd probably tease him relentlessly. But I'm really trying to help the guy.
Dude,
more.
if you were going to...
they're going to give him the break. So...
No, listen, if you want to be different, okay, I get that. Okay, you want to be different. So why not get a 6.1 Hemi? I mean, you could buy them for probably double what you can pay for an LS. And then everything else is, I mean, you put a turbo on it. You flip the exhaust manifolds upside down, make it work.
I don't know if you can flip the.
I don't
Chrysler,
know,
but I mean, how hard could any of this be?
But yeah, it's not. It's not 17 grand.
No, I can't see how you could ever get there.
Double the price. Let's say you get a 6.1 for $3 grand, which is crazy. I got to believe you can get one for 2, or I don't know. Mogul probably has one. So you're in it for $2 grand. The turbo doesn't cost any more.
No.
Okay, so maybe the headers are double. I mean, buy some Chinese headers for that.
But you do need headers to begin with.
Yeah, you need them anyway.
Yeah, no matter what you're buying. Something.
Yeah. Even if you're buying, put a 2JZ in the thing. Whatever. No, it's not getting done.
I know.
Stop it.
I know. I shouldn't devote my energy to this. I know I shouldn't.
I wish we could have been on the air when Tad and I were talking before and you said what you said, because that was fucking funny.
It wasn't even that bad.
I talked to Fudd today. I can't get involved in this.
Yeah.
I'm used up.
Just so everybody understands, Tad was, well, Tad, while we'll give you the spotlight for a moment, tell us your latest car saga, because it is actually suspended above the ground now by a lift, correct?
No, it's on the ground now.
Was it at one point over the past week suspended? You fucking nitwit. All right, go ahead. Now, go ahead.
Oh, they called me up and told me, oh, your clutch is shot. I was like, nobody could have told me this when it came out of the car, so I would have been aware of this. They're going to install it, and they said, oh, this clutch is wasted. What do you want to do? We could put it back in, it'll run, but it's only going to run, it's going to have to come out in a month. If that. So I was like, joy, so now I'm going to hunt down another clutch to go in it.
All right, but the moral of the story is your car actually left the ground and at least went up in the air.
Yeah.
Actually went from outside to inside to up in the air.
Yes.
So we were discussing the clutch, and Tom said something like, you were talking about traction or loading on a clutch, and Tad just went completely Tad. And Tom looked at me like, help. And I said, I can't, man. I talked to Alan today. I'm done. I can't. I used it all up earlier. I can't do it.
It was way funnier in person.
I know.
We should have the cameras on.
Only reason I recounted is because I'm sure Alan will be listening.
He is.
It's
yeah. For him, it's awesome.
He already said he's sitting back and letting us go.
Okay. Gee, thanks, Alan. Appreciate that. All right. So you're close.
Yeah.
Or closer. You need a clutch.
And I got both the hubs at the shop.
Are they done?
No. I just got them at the shop yesterday.
Weren't they in your car like 2 weeks ago?
They're all over the place. They're in my cellar. They're in my car. They're everywhere until I get the shit done.
Not what I answered. All right. But so they can be done.
Yes.
Okay. So are you going to do these before you get the clutch, or are you going to let them sit until you figure the clutch out?
I'm doing them tomorrow. I'm just taking them apart. I found the backing plates, all that stuff. The works.
All right. So really, now
that's it. They go down there at the car.
I can't yell at you for the clutch because I thought it was fine too when we moved your little shit box around here.
It felt fine.
Seemed fine. So should be nothing else you're waiting for at this point.
No.
But nothing that we know of at this point.
Exactly.
Well, that's good. So you'll be done in short order. All right. Thomas, what'd you do this weekend?
We don't want to talk about me.
Why?
I had a bad weekend.
He asked me for a claw hammer. I didn't.
Oh yeah, that worked out okay. No, my kid hurt himself lifting, and yeah, not a good weekend.
He actually ripped a muscle off his chest.
Yeah, he ruptured a pec benching, and yeah, I had to pull the weight off him. Sucked. So he needs surgery now. So it was a long weekend, but we'll be all right. He's a tough kid.
I would imagine so. I like if that happened to me, I think I'd run right to the doctor. Like immediately,
honestly,
like hospital. Look, there's a big lump here and it's disconnected.
I was pretty surprised because we were, it wasn't a lot of weight. We were up to we were up to 225.
Can I bring up something here?
Yeah.
Rich Mogul said, can he call in and abuse FUD?
No.
No, sorry.
Why?
I don't know. I guess that's all reserved for Mike.
Why can't Mogul call in and abuse FUD?
Because between talking to FUD today and Tad,
I
don't know if I could do Mogul on top of it all. Okay. That would really take it to the end.
All right, now I get it. Call late, Mogul. Maybe we'll have a change of heart. So yeah. Anyway, well, I'm not going to bore everybody with this thing, but yeah, he at 225. I mean, it's weight he's done a zillion times, and he was going slow, and it was no problem, and he winced, and the weight went back to his chest, and he said, "Dude, I just tore my pec," and I was like, "What?" And I had to pick the weight up off him, and he got up, and we left.
So is this something like surgery can fix it all and everything?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Probably have to be sitting in rehab for a while.
And you see, to show that FUD is a nice guy, here we were trashing him. He says, "Wow, Tom, I hope he's okay."
No, thanks, FUD.
He's. I told you, he's not a bad guy. He's just. Just him.
Yeah,
you can't help it. All right. Well, we're actually going to talk to. We were going to have. What's her name today?
Yeah, Danny from Brembo, but she still didn't get final clearance from Brembo. So we're going to have a future tech show with Howard from Redline.
Yeah, and this is actually going to be a good one because I talked to Howard over the weekend. I don't think it was this weekend. I think it was last week.
No, it was last. But he's doing a lot of cool shit.
Yeah,
he's got ZR1s on order and ZL1s and everything with a 1.
Yeah, and he's been preparing. I guess now it's common knowledge that the new Corvettes are going to be dual overhead cam. I personally hate it. I mean, I know it's
going to be mid-engine too, or just we.
I guess that's from everything I hear. I don't know, and the people that we should ask, at least we should ask for us. We don't ask.
Yeah,
I mean, because I'm sure K-Tech has a pretty good idea. I was going
to say we should have asked him last time.
Yeah, it's the twin cam thing or dual overhead cam is particularly interesting to me, and probably even to somebody like Billy Godbold, because now part of the intricacies of figuring out what you need for a camshaft, that equation is gone.
Yeah,
or part of it.
It gets divided by something.
Yeah, but
some factor.
Right, but now like getting it ground on a center line, where you install it, where the exhaust is in relation intake, kind of all out the window.
Well,
move it on the fly.
Yeah, actually, it's not out the window. That all gets better.
Well, I mean, yeah, because there is no.
There's no limitation of one stick.
Yeah.
I mean, you separate a lot of things. It makes everything better, makes everything more complicated.
Got to wonder if they're going to be variable valve timing and everything like that.
I'm sure they are.
Oh, they got to be.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are. But that's a whole nother level of tuning.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you this, that my stupid little truck, because that thing is a test bed. Like if there's something that I'm wondering about or how something works, I will go in and fuck it up to figure out, the cause and effect. Yeah, more than anything. And I can tell you that when I got the thing, first thing I did, probably like what, I imagine that most people who get HP tuners, first thing it is, I'm going to turn all the torque management shit off. Mm-hmm. Well, that's just because they're stupid. You're gonna break transits, you're gonna hurt shit. There's no reason to do that. But I did fall into the other side. Displacement on demand off, movable cam off, turned all that shit off. The camshaft, turning it back on, actually yielded a couple miles to the gallon when I kind of moved it around a little bit to figure out what it needed. Actually made it a lot better and made it nicer to drive. So, and that's only moving.
Dude, the OEs aren't a bunch of morons.
No, I never thought they were, but that's only one aspect of that. Yep. Now imagine that's just installed center line. Now imagine that you can do all aspects of it.
Yeah. Variable lift.
Well, I don't know. Well, yeah, I guess they're going to be overhead cam. I guess, do they do variable lift on those things?
I don't know. Let's ask the
we got Howard.
Expert.
Howard, what's up?
Hey, what's up, boys?
So you're going to teach us about camshafts, or at least the positioning of thereof, so forth?
I don't know. You're getting pretty tough to talk to lately.
Yeah. You want to get into that here?
If you want. Hey,
okay.
What it's about. Podcast.
He's got no fear.
I got no fear.
I know. Neither one of you got no fear. We should just like being in a phone booth with a,
with what?
With a
pair of idiots? With a pair of hammers?
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Matt Vaughn just said the ZR1 spanked the GT40 around Nuremberg. Yeah. I don't think it was Nuremberg. I think it was actually like VIR.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Really? Was it Nuremberg?
No.
Well, I heard that from somebody else completely unrelated to this thing.
No, it was Virginia Motorsports Park.
Oh, well.
No, but it still beat the Ford GT.
Okay. Yeah, well, it didn't do him any good over the past, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
Terrible. Did you go to that race, Howard? 24-hour race or no? Or you didn't even poke your head in on there? No.
No, I didn't go to that.
He's too busy.
Yeah, the ZR1's going to be a bad son of a bitch, though. I mean, it's still, still pound for pound, dollar for dollar. I think still going to be a slayer.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing you definitely got to say about the GM stuff. If you look at the horsepower and the overall platform of the car, because you could argue that a Chrysler is, high horsepower, but it's not a sports car.
No.
The Corvette is a Corvette.
Yep.
It still is a good platform for the dollar. Yeah. Yeah. Now with the things they're talking about. Now, Howard, do you have any confirmation yet that these things are a dual overhead cam and this is how it's going to be for sure?
Well, the ZR1's not going to be. The ZR1 is going to be the conventional, cam and block configuration like we've seen, just with some refinements to it.
Right. But the 19...
No, it is the 19. The 20 is going to be.
Well, that is the 19. I mean, we don't even know if it's 20 or 21, but most certainly the mid-engine concept is going to be. What I know is that there's two engines. There's a 4-liter V8 and a 5.2-liter or 5.5-liter V8. Both are dual overhead cam, turbocharged, closed loop turbocharged motors.
Wow, that's cool shit.
Compact and mean. Yeah, it's going to be. It's part of its packaging, and we've talked about this before with this engine size thing. The manufacturers have to deal with the government with fuel economy and emissions and whatnot, and it's not about miles per gallon; it's miles per gallon per liter of engine size. So we all know that you look at the import world with a 2-liter or 3-liter motor and run 30 pounds of boost, and you can make a shitload of power. So, running turbochargers really just makes the motor as big as you want to make it. But statically, the size of the engine is what's going to dictate that ratio. So it's a huge leveraging point for manufacturers, which is why engines are getting smaller.
And, in fairness, the power levels that we're talking about here are easily obtainable with, a 4-liter engine. I mean, look at things like...
Well, the 5.2-liter motor is going to be capable of close to 850.
Yeah.
It's not a bad starting point.
No.
Crazy.
And when you look at some of the imports, look at McLaren.
Yeah.
I think that thing happens to be like Buick size. It always sticks in my head. That's a V8. That's a 3.8. And I think they make 720. Is like just on an out of the factory tune-up. So, I mean, the potential's there.
Yeah, none of it's a surprise. I mean, at the end of the day, we've talked about this. It goes back to physics. You need to move a certain amount of pounds per minute of airflow to make X amount of power. And whether you shove it in, shovel it in, force it in, spray it in, as long as you can get it in, you can produce that power. And most certainly that's what forced induction's about, 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound pail.
Can you actually shovel it in?
Steam, but
have you worked on that?
I want a shoveling.
Yeah, shoveling mechanism.
Isn't a rotary motor?
Yeah, that's shoveling. Yeah, that's true.
I think of like an old water mill, like sitting on top of the motor, just pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
So it's none of what's coming is revolutionary per se. It's just been the accumulation of many, many years of different forms of technologies that are all starting to like join themselves together. One of the cool things, with these new motors, with these turbo systems, is this closed looped turbo control. The turbo system is very smart, and they're using not only a wastegate, but they're also using throttle to control spooling up the turbo. So, these motors today just have like zero downtime. There's no, the old turbo lag terminology, which turbo lag really means you've got the wrong size turbo on the motor, but like the response time of these things for scroll up is just incredible, and that's what makes a car quick and fast and streetable. So, how they're managing that is kind of cool, but a turbo's nothing new, right?
No, certainly not at all.
Dual overhead cam motor is not anything new. It's just now that GM's starting to integrate this stuff, it'll, be a high revving, boosted, punchy little motor. It's going to be pretty stout.
Did you see what the guy just wrote about displacement torque suffers with less displacement? And that's not really the case anymore with turbocharged stuff. I don't believe.
Well, it goes back to airflow again. Torque and airflow go hand in hand. So if you can move the airflow, you'll make the torque. There's nothing really to debate. So if you can produce a smaller displacement motor, which typically would make less torque because the motor has less volume and
right, NA it would make less torque for sure.
Right, but even the boosted motor, being that small, but if they get the turbos lit off quick, and those turbos can start shoving air in the motor, then all this hypothesizing goes away. It goes back to physics.
Well, even some of the newer turbocharged stuff, like a friend of mine had a BMW, I think it was a 4 something, like when they went to the even numbers. I don't know what the hell this thing was. But
the 335i was like a pretty badass little BMW twin turbo. I think it was making like 400 foot-pounds of torque with like a little calibration on it.
I wonder if that's what he had. But that thing, that didn't behave like a small motor. Like when you touched the throttle, it was in a boost. Like instantly.
Yeah.
It was a really, you would, if you didn't know, like if you were, maybe, God, I was going to say a woman, but then you're, that's never.
But boy, here we go.
There we go. If you didn't know the mechanics of a car, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You would just think, wow, this thing has a lot of power. It doesn't feel too strokey. It didn't feel anything. It was a really nice car to drive.
Yep.
And that's how the ATSVs are. And the ATSV, believe it or not, is really a C8 and shepherd's clothing. It's really the architecture of what's coming. It's a V6, but it doesn't make a difference. 2 more cylinders, but it has all the closed loop stuff, DI. There's a lot of dual overhead cam. We've been doing a lot of work now with that motor, with the expectations of what we're learning and playing with that motor is what we're going to be dealing with when the C8 comes out. So when I'm sitting in one of those cars on the dyno calibrating, to me, it doesn't really matter what the shell of it is. It's really about the integration of that product,
Now, have you, I don't want you to tell other people because this is a tough one to ask, but have you noticed, how do I say this nicely? I was going to ask, how much benefit the camshaft tunability was and how much control over it do you have? I don't want you to necessarily tell people what you're doing, but like say, with just the tune, if the tune was normally talking about ignition timing and air fuel and everything else, now when you throw the camshaft dimension into it, how much more were you able to do with them, like just from the factory without turning a wrench?
It's pretty significant when you really look at it on that engine, which again, it's a percentage based on whatever you started with, right? We know that I have firm beliefs that when the C8 power plants come out, they're going to start out with a much higher power level than what an ATSV is. So a percentage gain is greater on that than it would have been on this, but a gain's a gain, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I gotta, and a lot of it is also going to be about, how much camshaft is in it that gives you that kind of movement because, you have 4 camshafts. You can move them all independently. You know, that gives you variable, you know, volumetric efficiency profiles that you have. You do get to a point where you're going to suffer somewhere because the head's not good, and maybe the head on the C8 will be better, and you have all these other, you know, variables and stuff. But you can definitely make some power. I mean, we've been creeping up on it pretty good. And like I said, I mean, moving camshaft timing events around is nothing new at all. I mean, we do it every day with a single cam. You know, now it gets a little more complicated with these motors, just because there's so much going on with the VE moving around all the time. You need to spend a lot of time mapping shit out. You know, this is why on our wish list as we grow in the next couple of years is getting an engine dyno, so we can be able to like really work the shit out of these motors and figure out where they're working. You know what I mean?
So in these things, when you move the camshaft around, are there, like, I know from, and again, I can only fall back to what I have exposure to, which is the E38 computers. It's the only thing I looked at. It's the only thing I know. That had, and I'm sure everything is done completely differently, but what's the mechanism? Is there something that essentially dynamically builds the volumetric efficiency table based on where it thinks the camshafts are?
Yeah, I mean, this is the holy grail of GM controllers with these. You know, there's this 7-string polynomial calculation that feeds into that formula where the camshaft is, where spark timing is, where mass airflow is, where manifold pressure is, where RPM is, and all these things is what gets fed into that formula, which then finally shit out a final sum of airflow. So when I rotate the camshaft, an intake camshaft, say 4 degrees, well, that new angle is now dropped into that formula.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then as it drops down through this calculation, it figures out final sum of airflow, and it needs to match what's really happening. Now, I kind of just summed up a lot of engineering in very few words, but if anybody could even make sense of what I just said, that's the kind of holy grail of how GM's controllers work.
Yeah, I actually understand that, but doing it on the fly, that's amazing.
Yeah, doing it on the fly. I mean, if you take a single cam, 6-cam in-block engine, you can easily map out a 2-dimensional graph of the VE table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is where the engine moves the most airflow. And fuel's got nothing to do with this. And if we could take a big electric motor, tie it into the back of the engine, put an air meter on the front of the inlet of the throttle body, and spin that engine over a variety of throttle angles and RPMs, we could create a table.
Mm-hmm.
Now I go and I move the camshaft 4 degrees. That's a completely different table. Now I go 4 degrees the other way. Now I go 4 degrees back the other way. Now I've got 5 tables, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden, now I can move an intake and exhaust cam. But now you just doubled everything up, and it's variably moving. So what you end up with is 132 different VE tables on the fly. And in order to have a computer that can really change all that on the fly, you would need the entire trunk of the car loaded with a processor, or they do it through math. So this is where that calculation comes into play, and they just feed all that into this calculation, and it processes it pretty quick and comes up with the answer fast, in a nutshell. So, yeah, what's going to happen is you're going to start moving camshaft angle around and throttle angle and boost pressures and stuff. I mean, it's going to get wild. And I'll tell you right now, there's going to be a lot of shops that are going to be falling off the face of the earth when this new generation shows up.
Yeah, it's a whole nother aspect of this.
We won't be one. Yeah, and we won't be one.
It's funny. GM's really been behind on this. Like, if you think about it, like, even like if you take and I didn't know this, I saw this a while back, but like you take the Viper camshaft. The Viper camshaft is like a cam in a cam. They actually had some of this technology in the camshaft. And I actually looked up the company that made it, because I was like, son of a bitch. We had talked about that with Jessel, 20 years ago, trying to, and everybody's opinion is that, look, in real racing applications, it's never going to be stable enough, blah, blah, blah. And that was kind of it. But this thing, so Chrysler had it, Ford, obviously. How long ago did they go to overhead cam stuff?
94.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's been a long time.
Yep.
And GM can phase their single cam, advanced retard. That's it.
So the Viper cam has separately movable intake and exhaust.
If you go look at this, it's like a cam and a cam on a shaft.
Yeah.
And they're like pinned or whatever. I looked at it. God, why can't I remember who made it? There's a company that made it. Crap. It was their design, but Chrysler used it.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, it's in those motors.
That's pretty cool.
So GM is late to the party. But here's what I don't understand. Why is it that like the little cars, like the ATS and all these other things, turbocharged, why are the cars that like I would like, the Hellcat, the Mustang, and the Corvette, why are they all mechanically supercharged? I mean, how could that be even remotely as efficient as turbocharging? I don't understand why they did this.
But let me tell you one thing we have to weigh into this conversation is that, you know how long society has been trying to fight off losing a V8 and a Corvette?
Yeah.
I mean,
forever.
I guarantee if GM really had their wishes, it'd be a V6 in that car, and they probably were like, fuck it. We got to go to V6. We got to make it a V8 because all these people are going to be pissed off at us. So they're not going to buy the car because it's just the way that car's heritage has been. It's always been a V8. It's always been an in-cam pushrod V8.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but people got to start stepping up and realize the times are changing. And when you buy one and you buy the ZR1 model in 2023 and it makes $850, shut up. You know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is at this point, you know, and you got to get over it. But I know it's been a struggle. So, you know, the pushrod motor, if you really, again, you want to give credit to somebody, I mean, GM is just, you know, I mean, when the LS7 motor came out in 06, I mean, and, you know, 7,200 RPM pushrod motor still running like it did. I mean, it was kind of a little bit of like, F you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, a pushrod motor, a big clumsy V8 like that, you know, in a mid-engine car is just not, it's just not going to work. I mean, some of this is packaging and.
Yeah, but I don't see how overhead cam packaging could get better. I mean, you put the cam in the middle of the motor, it's normally wasted, isn't it? Like the whole, what's in the middle of the motor if the cam ain't there?
Yeah.
Nothing. From a packaging perspective, I would think it could be a little better.
Well, the supercharger.
Well, these motors are going to be little. I mean, these are little V8s. I mean, these are like things that guys are going to want to put them in their freaking, you know,
snowmobile
go-karts and stuff. Yeah, snowmobiles, exactly. Well, I'm putting one on my jet ski, I think. But, you know, this is going to be one of those things that it's going to be a cute little tightly packaged little power plant. The turbos are going to be tucked in tight. They're going to be a bitch to work on, and it is what it is.
Like
you know,
BMW.
so yeah. You know, it's going to be funny in a couple of years when we're backing all the cars into the bay to work on them instead of driving them in. No.
Yeah, crazy.
You know.
Yeah, I think the supercharger was probably a packaging thing because they had so much to attack just with overhead cams. Now you got to hang turbos off it somewhere.
I'll tell you with the supercharging has always been an easier deal for emission purposes. Because you know, you got a manifold on the right coming off the cylinder head. You bang an O2 sensor in there. You got your catalyst real tight and close. You start putting things in the middle like turbos, and you start running into more problems. And obviously, they've gotten around a lot of that with the technology and the faster controllers and direct injection. So, you know, turbocharging has always been more difficult from an emission standpoint versus supercharging. So that's why a lot of it is stuck like that. And, you know, and people wanted instant power. But, again, going back to closed-loop technology with turbocharging and be able to have a set of turbos light off immediately, you end up with supercharging instantaneous feel. You end up with way better torque control because, you know, obviously a supercharger, it's a little more difficult to kind of back off power, whereas turbos you can. So from a longevity standpoint with drivetrains and stuff, I mean, you know, if it feels like it's going to break the drivetrain, it's going to back off boost. Which leads back into your opening statement about torque management. That'll all be stuff we're going to be fighting with down the road again, too.
Yeah.
So, you know, we talked about the blade shutting down and timing. Now it's going to be fighting the turbo from making the boost.
You know, I don't know why these supercharger manufacturers, I know the centrifugals can do it, I believe, but I don't know why the Roots guys or the Screw guys can't integrate a wastegate. So you could manage. Well,
you kind of can. I mean, there is a bypass valve. I mean, Mopar does that with the Hellcats and stuff, but it's just, I don't think it's there for more of a safety mechanism to like get rid of boost versus controlling it and manage it finite, like you do with a turbocharger and like an AMS 2000, right? We know that we can micro control the boost perfectly with a control function like that, and supercharging is probably just a little more. I don't know how they can do that more crisp.
Yeah, I just don't know why they couldn't, though. I mean, you could literally have a valve, a wastegate somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, the bypass was more a cruise thing, right? Where you don't have to be in boost when you're driving around 2,500 RPM, and
Yeah, but there's manufacturers, Tom, that have those are electronic bypasses, and they could dump boost. But like I said, you're making 12 pounds, or they dump it, versus modulating it between 12, 14, back to 8, and everything else smoothly.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm just saying I can't believe that they can't do it. It's hard for me to believe with all the technology out there that one of them can't do it. Kenny Bell.
Well, maybe you should call your congressman.
I think I'm going to. Damn it.
We got a good one? Probably not. We're in New Jersey.
No, we're in New Jersey. Communist state. Anyway.
Is it cold up there today?
Shut up.
Not terrible. Not terrible.
He knows it's cold up here.
I know.
He was telling me the other day the iguanas are back. They're running around.
It was cold, like real cold.
It's cold. It was cold this morning.
Right.
Wasn't that bad.
You dick. It was 16 at my house.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I got up out here at like probably 8:30. It wasn't 16.
Oh, well, you were up late.
Yeah, it wasn't 16. I can deal with it. It's all right. Fuck you, Howard.
Yeah.
I know it's nice down there.
It's real nice down there. So what else? When's your ZR1 due to come in?
I don't know. Whenever they finally, they've been ripping them up and down Alligator Alley down here in Florida for like the last month and a half. They one of my guys ran into one of the guys driving the cars, and they put guys in those cars, and they drive back and forth from Naples to Fort Lauderdale all day long, and they've accrued like 75 to 80,000 miles on the cars
On Alligator Alley.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So they've been ripping around, and I'm sure they're trying to see what the hell's going to fall off of it. I'm sure there's some calibration stuff they're checking, and the car's in that final stage of, is everything okay? So I mean, they're not ready to like dump the car out yet. I mean, even allocations have been given to dealers. Everybody's walking around pounding their chest. I got one coming, and maybe you got one tagged, but we're probably a couple months before we see the car.
Well, how many did they say they were going to make?
900.
I've heard numbers all over the place, but I it's got to be at least a couple 3,000, a couple thousand, 3,000. I would think.
Oh, I heard 900.
I think it's got to be more than that.
Well, I'm just telling you what I heard.
Sounds like an awful low number.
I heard 900, and I heard that they're making them all at one shot. And that's going to be what they are.
I believe that could happen because I'm sure they probably want to close production to get ready for the next deal. So is there going to be a 2018 conventional Corvette as well?
Well, I do know that the DI V8 motor, the 6.2, is still on GM's list of engines up until 20 or 21. So that means that it's going to end up in something, and then they may just continue the continual. They may just continue the C7 style for a little bit longer. I mean, there's just a lot of speculation, but I do know that the motor is not getting terminated yet from the list of lineup of GM's motors. So that would make you think at that point that they're going to put it in something, whether it's a continuation of the Corvette. And who even knows what they're going to call this freaking C8? You know what I mean? We don't. There's all this speculation that it might be just an offshoot from Corvette. You know what I mean? I guess we'll see. I mean, GM will probably surprise us and do something stupid.
Well,
that would be shocking. They never did that before, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of a frustrating situation, but there's just a lot of speculation right now. I mean, I know from a product integration from the power plants and all that technology, we've been watching all this in the last 4 or 5 years of C7. What's crazy here is like this C8, we're all like, oh my God, this is new, it's coming, and it is new, but that car was getting worked on 9 years ago. You know what I mean? So what are they working on today? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
by the time the car comes out, it's really old. It's old technology. It's new to us as the outsiders, but and what GM does a lot is they put some of their new technologies into current production cars just to see how they react, and they try to learn from what's in production to feed forward for something going ahead. If that makes sense.
Well, GM to me right now is in a good position from the performance perspective. I realize you've got the Hellcat and blah blah blah, you guys, whatever. But they've got a good platform now, and look, they've captured probably the largest portion of performance enthusiasts as far as all the LS stuff goes. They have Tom, you guys sell the stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure LS has to outsell Chrysler and Ford, probably, right?
Yeah.
All right. I just hope that switching to this new platform, I know everybody's got to move forward. And I know when they switched to the LSs, I was like, that's it. Great. GM killed the V8. It's over. And, everybody adapted and everybody moved forward. I hope this isn't a particularly tough one.
Turned out to be a good move, the LS.
Sure did. Did.
They make more power by
They're
accident.
not gonna, They can't. Listen, it's not going to stop. Okay,
No, of course not.
GM's, it's not. It's going to be harder. I think a lot of companies that are shops similar to what we do that haven't been paying attention for the last 12 years, that thought they paid attention for a few years and then barely paid attention in the last 3, are going to have their hands full. There's no doubt in my mind. And they're just going to end up being shops that are just stuck working on C5, C6, and C7, and the next revolution is just going to blow by them. I mean, it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, and then that'll be it.
That'll be good, though.
Yeah.
Be good for a collection of people. It'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, I've been just, for me personally, from a calibration standpoint, I'm lasered in. I have been. I knew what was coming. I'm fascinated with technologies that are, controlled with, finite controls, like where they're going. And, and I think I've been in it for a long enough time, and then growing up around a carburetor, that what's coming is not like I'm not stumped by it. It's just really, what kind of access do we got? Where can we get to it? Getting familiar again. The principles and the philosophies behind the calibrating what needs to be done have already been in the building block for a lot of years, in my head. So, it's just, access, getting in, the difficulties of working. None of us have seen the car. We don't know what we're up against. You know what I mean? So, to me, it's a car that, you want to work on. It just comes out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Take off the back bumper to be like working on a Lamborghini.
All right. Well, side note, how is that little ATS thing as a car?
Badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those things come in making 380 rear wheel, which is pretty serious in itself, and a little bit of calibration work. They'll make 465, 470.
Wow.
And if I dump a downpipe on it, you can almost crack 500 with it.
And what does it weigh?
I think it's 4,100 maybe.
So it's Hellcat weight.
Really? But they're tiny. They're not tiny.
No, they're not tiny.
They're smaller than CTSs.
I think they are CTS.
No. Ask Howard. I don't think so.
Howard?
They're it's basically actually
It's an all-wheel drive CTS, I thought.
it's basically a Camaro. I mean, it's closer to like a Camaro size. You know what I mean? Which is less than 4,000.
But they're 4-door, right? They're sedan.
All I know is I got a bunch of guys running them things, and they're running like 11 flat 1090s with them.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. And you take them out on the road and you roll the throttle on, and they're just on. I mean, there's no mushy. They're just on.
And in the scheme of things, they're actually not a terribly expensive car compared to like a CTSV.
No, CTSV is just out of control.
Yeah,
They're a dumb move.
I'm-
They're 70. I think they're 70,000.
Did you say they're a dumb move?
Yeah.
It was a dumb move, that CTSV. I love that car, but for $100,000, you just what did you do that for?
Yeah, I think I looked at one the other day, and I think you'd walk out at like 97.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a lot of control. Anyway, yeah, I thought those ATSs were really small because they still make a CTS. I don't know what the CTS platform is like compared to, say, a Camaro or the ATS. I don't know where they fall in.
Yeah, I didn't.
But I mean, it looks smaller.
I must be looking at a different car. I thought it was an all-wheel drive CTS.
No, they still make a CTS, and when you got them side by side,
They're different.
Yeah, and they even call it. I think they called it like the CTS's little nephew or cousin or something. They said.
No, there's a CTS V Sport. There's another one, which is the smaller motor, and then there's the ATS V.
Right. Right, but they still do make a CTS, right?
The what?
They still do make a CTS.
Yeah, they make a CTS V. I think they make a CTS. I think it's like a 2-liter turbo or something, and then they make the CTS V Sport, which is a sedan with the smaller twin turbo V6 in it.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the ATS V.
Got it.
Another one of GM's marvels. Come up with 40 models of the Cadillac.
Yeah.
with V's and S's and T's in it. It's ridiculous.
Just keep everybody nice and confused.
Yeah.
All right. So what else you got going on for yourself? Anything good?
I don't know. That's it. I know that Tom and I are ramping up another road trip overseas again.
Yeah, we are.
Kind
Shenanigans.
of excited about that.
Tickets are booked.
We got
hotels.
Tickets are booked. We're going, and I got a bunch of motors that are sitting out at their port for those guys, and we've got 2 ZL1s that we're pumping up with our Phase 5 tiller package on it. And they got on a container in about 10 minutes to get out to those guys. And so it'll be kind of neat to have some product out there when we go. And Tom and I always have a good time. And they're good people. You know, we enjoy it.
Hey, Algandi, he delivered a ZR1 already, huh?
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, I think he did, because I know the guy that bought it over there.
How can that be?
Well, there's been one over there they got it months ago. I think they got the first one.
But they had an unveiling. That's where they unveiled the car, was in Dubai.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's been sold and delivered.
Really?
Yeah, so ask Fadi about it. You talk to him.
I'll ask Muhammad about that later.
One of his boys bought it.
Oh, that's interesting.
I saw that car in Kuwait a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The orange one with that big giant wing on it. My God.
Yeah.
That wing is crazy.
Rice.
It's awesome.
It's a real wing.
Yeah. My 1LE car's got that big ass wing on. They're modeled off the same thing. It's got big, the Camaro's got those big inlet ports in the front. So does the ZR1 and the wing. And you know what they do now is a base ZR1 is about $115,000.
Yep.
Which isn't crazy, okay? And then by the time you got up all the good shit in it, and then there's like a track package, and then you get the big ass wing and tires and everything else. It's like another $3,500. By the time you're done, the car's $140,000.
Oh, with carbon brakes and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they all come with the same brakes on it, but I think they got a different rim, they got different rubber on it. But the suspension's dialed in. Like my 1LE car is different from a ZL1 because it's got that spool valve suspension in it. And you get the spool valve suspension, stiffer, bushings in the chassis, the carbon wing. There's a bunch of different stuff. The front of the car is different, so they're modeling that same kind of order option for the ZR1. So there's a track version of the ZR1, and then there's the Putz version.
The Putz version.
Yeah, but realistically, 115 for that car. I mean, that's not
terrible.
Exactly.
Not
That's a
terrible.
pretty good number. Yeah.
No, not when you got 100 in a CTSV.
No.
I mean, Christ, you could have 100 in an Escalade.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. It's GM. You kind of got to tip your hat to them. They get everybody convinced that their shit's worth a lot of money.
Yep.
Bunch of idiots we are.
Yep. Exactly. So.
Yeah, I didn't know they were actually that inexpensive for like a base model. So I wonder what the new Z06 is going to go for.
Probably $75,000.
But a Z06 is $80,000 stripped versus the 115 stripped, just as a comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I think my thing was 90. I think the sticker was like 97, and I think that like a base one was maybe 83 or 84, something like that. Yeah, but it's really not a bad deal for what you get car for money. I mean, I don't know too many another sports type car you could get for that price.
Wait, time out. Somebody's asking a question about head studs. And I got to answer this because I don't want the guy to think we're not paying attention. If you're asking about ARP head studs, just their standard Pro Series, like ARP 2000 stuff, they have a version in custom age 625. They're about triple the money, and it's the best stuff they have if you don't want to go bigger. That's for yellow TA. Just want to let them know. Anyway, sorry. Back to you guys.
Those are good head studs.
Yeah, they are. Very good.
I got in an argument with one of my buddies about a year and a half ago, and I had to do some real big digging. And we were talking about the LS motor, about head studs versus half-inch studs versus 7/16 studs versus the age stuff and everything else.
Yep. And
at the end of it all, an age 625 stud at the standard factory diameter stud was stronger than a half-inch ARP 2000.
Yeah, I believe that.
And you didn't have to modify the head, because when you got an LSX block, you got to machine out the head.
Right.
For the bigger studs.
Right.
It's not worth it.
Right.
Buy the studs.
Yeah, it is remarkable material. It's a lot of money, but
Yeah, they're not bashful on
That's the
that
way-
stuff.
no.
Anything with custom age on, forget it.
No.
It's
Yeah, no, but by the time you buy ARP 2000s and have the head machine
true.
versus
Yeah.
buying those and not machining,
Yep.
it's cheaper, and you got another 6,000 or 8,000 more pounds of clamping force.
Yep. Then you're
I
drilling
wouldn't put this whole big freaking thing on.
head gaskets. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's a big pain in the ass. Just
Yeah.
put the material in it. So
Yeah, exactly.
so what else? Did you hire your new guy?
Yeah, he's starting in like March 1st in the office, so that's going to be good. And we're getting to some parts manufacturing this year, especially with some of these new models of cars coming out. And I got another guy in the shop, hopefully starting in another month or so too. And we just, I've realized that my Superman cape can only fly me around so far, and I just got to bring some more people involved. It's just
That's how it is, man.
you can't. Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I know all the aspects of what goes on in this business. At least relative to my own business, and whether it's 1 minute I'm calibrating a 1,200 horsepower car, next I'm scrubbing the toilet. So it's I get it. So
Thanks for that.
It's easier to bring people. Huh?
Thanks for that little snippet.
Just say it. I mean, it's fully,
Yeah.
people
See,
own their business.
Howard come out one of those white things tied on his head, like the old,
Yeah.
old cleaners used to have. All right, who's pissing on the toilet seat?
Yeah. No, it's funny. I mean, mowing the lawn, and next you're dealing with all kinds of stuff. But
Yeah.
it's but the good thing is, it's an interesting discussion. I had a guy come in my shop the other day. He's actually a customer that got burned by another shop for a lot of money, big ordeal, and we kind of got him out of the jam. And he brings me one of his buddies with a car, and his buddy comes in. He was pretty cool. He had a Z06, and he goes, I travel for work a lot, and he goes, I end up stopping in a lot of shops when I travel, whatever. He goes, I've always wanted to ask this question. And he goes, what makes your shop better than other shops? And I looked at him. I said, probably me. And he goes, well, what do you mean? I go, well, I kind of grew up around this industry from the business side to whether it's engine building, whether it's wiring, whether it's fabrication, well, certainly the calibration stuff. So when I tend to hire somebody, I really can't be bullshitted. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Versus somebody who owns a business and the guy comes in and says, yeah, I got a great set of tools, like somebody from the Jerky Boys, I got a killer set of tools, and I can do all the stuff. And how do you really know? What questions do you really ask that individual to really nail down that they get it, because you don't know, So I kind of told him it just kind of helps us by bringing in the right people, and my expectations of my guys are high because that's the kind of business you want to run. And so I said, it kind of comes from the top, but, but it's a building block. I mean, unfortunately, I've had the fortune to run into some good people in the last 2-3 months as we've put some ads out there. I mean, I guess we're a shop that's got some desire. My guy in the office is coming down from Ohio, so he can't get down here fast enough. He's looking forward to nicer weather and different atmosphere. So, that's been a helpful draw for somebody to relocate. But, he's also got what I need in the office, so it's going to be, I'm excited. I need this new team,
You're close though on the team, right?
On what?
You're close on the team. Your team is pretty stout.
Yeah, no, but there's another level. I mean, you can't. I put a lot of expectation on myself and the company, and like we just talked about for the last half hour about the technology and stuff. I mean, you need to continually be polishing your brand. You can't take anything for granted. This world moves way too quick right now. You got to be on your A game to be on top of it. And I'm far from ready to sit back on it, but expanding the company into other things, with parts manufacturing and some development stuff, especially what's coming out soon. I mean, you just need to keep the team with you, whether it's engineers or guys that are good at, procurement of things. We want to get into some manufacturing and stuff. I don't know where to get the packing peanuts. I don't want to deal with it. You deal with it. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things. So I've realized my best attribute for the business is being on the edge of the diving board for me.
Yep.
And being out on the cutting edge and, not afraid to jump off it and figure out where you land. That's what I'm good at. And I got to stop worrying about cleaning the toilet.
Yeah. And packing peanuts.
Yeah, it's not worth your time.
I'm gonna let Roy do that.
There you go. I think Roy would be good at anything you had him do. He'd be a good toilet cleaner. And
except as a tour guide, because we take him off the property and he's lost.
Yeah.
He's funny. The guy's completely intelligent on so many levels, and we laugh. And he's like, "Where am I?" I'm like, "You're a mile from the shop, Roy."
Oh, poor Roy. I'm gonna have to tell him.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, we got a lot. I got my hands full as usual, and I wouldn't want it any other way. And
yeah,
it is what it is.
Well, we're gonna have fun over there for sure, like usual.
Yeah, this trip to me, like I missed last year because of the building. You know what I mean? I really wanted to go last year, and I just had too much going on with the new building. And now that you get to know those guys even more, we've done more business with them. Mohammed says he's going to give us a car when we get there, and he texts me and he goes, "Make sure you get your GPS all up to speed, for directions." And I feel like now we're getting there, like we kind of know where to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's going back. It's become comfortable and familiar. It's not foreign anymore. Which is fun.
Yeah, it is fun. What kind of cars are you going to give us?
I don't know. I didn't really push it. Maybe it'll be that 01 if you got it.
Yeah, right. That'd be great. Probably not though.
He'll be up there. Probably not. Probably not. But he'll do something good. I don't know. Maybe gives us a truck with one of our 416s in it and a couple hair dryers on it. I'd be fine with that too.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
We'll get a we'll get a white Malibu.
Yeah, what you might even do. I don't know what he's doing with these two ZL1s that we're building, but if they're there, and who knows? Maybe we got to drive one of those for the show.
Yeah, somebody's gonna have to get them there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
Oh, you can drive the black one. I'll drive the red one.
Yeah, you're a red kind of guy.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got, man?
That's it.
All right, well, plug your shit.
Filling holes.
Plug your shit.
Plugging the shit, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You guys make me a veteran here. We've done our work in the industry and created our slice, and we're a company on the move, on the rise. And I hope people keep up with us on Instagram and Facebook and any of the scuttle that we got going on the internet. And we have no plans on slowing down whatsoever. And look for some good things in 18 because we have a lot going on this year.
And the new building upped your capacity, right? Like what you can handle at a given time?
Yeah, no, most certainly did. Although it seems like we filled it already, which is that natural Murphy's Law thing.
Never big enough.
Like that, but never big enough. But at least it's our building, and I'm not handing the money to somebody else. And we're on a main drag, and I got palm trees out in front, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, man. Good for you.
So I got plans to come down there. I'm going to try to drag Mike down there to see your place one day, but
you've been threatening me with that for.
I know.
Well, look, Tim is virtually finished with that thing, so all this stuff's got to move forward, sooner rather than later. And I've talked to Howard about all that too.
Yeah, so maybe we will. I mean, I'm coming. I'm coming because I got a ticket already. But I'm gonna try to bring.
I've been getting better at getting out of here.
I know you have. In fairness,
I'll get out of here.
All right, Howard. Well, as usual, man, great, great stuff, great info, and we appreciate you. And you and I'll be talking, obviously.
Yeah, likewise. Appreciate the opportunity. Mike, you know how to get a hold of me. I enjoy our tech conversations at midnight. So
certainly.
We'll keep doing it.
All righty. Guys. Thanks, Howard. See you.
Thanks, man.
See you, man.
Bye-bye. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he does have it going on.
I didn't want to get into another whole discussion with it. Oh, Christ, I get out of control. But we're going to finish that discussion.
He was able to use polynomial in a sentence.
That's true.
I mean, I haven't done that in a while.
That's true. I actually just used polynomial in a sentence when I was talking to some just the other day. I think I was talking to Fudd.
Really?
Yeah, it was, because I was talking about, God, what was I reading? I don't know.
How to use polynomial in a discussion.
No, it was calculations of volumetric efficiencies with, a bunch of coefficients changing. And that's really what it all came down to. That's why that was a good, point of the conversation for me. Because, looking at how some of the stuff, who's calling? How much you want to bet this is Mogul?
Of course it is. It's late.
I have to open see, I had the phone system all shut off. No.
Utah.
It's a Utite. Or Utaint?
What the hell?
Hello?
Hey.
Who's this?
Scott.
Oh, hey man, what's up?
What's
Yeah.
up, Libby?
He's all right.
I know he is.
Sorry to disappoint us, Ogle.
No.
No, I think that this is definitely a step up.
He's gonna call now.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of seconds.
Yes. Son of a-
What's up, Nitro?
No, well, nothing. I wanted to. Since Mike's too good for Facebook now, I wanted to go back to last week. I had to take off for my daughter's birthday party and missed his question about, what mile per hour in sort of a max effort application is capable of what ET. I posted something on the Facebook fan page about it. I don't know if either one of you saw that, but
I can't even. I don't even read English, and Mike doesn't look at Facebook, so
No.
I didn't see it. I apologize.
If you'd
No,
like to
don't worry.
post it in a video format with pointers and maybe a laser pen, maybe then I'd pay attention.
Chart and a graph.
No, but go ahead, explain it. Because, we were discussing, this goes back to FUD again, trying to figure out exactly how much power he needs, because he's looking at the power he needs to go as fast as he needs to go. He's kind of basing, like if he had, Scott, like a stocker or a super stocker. And a street car ain't that good. They're just never that good.
yeah, they aren't, and that's kind of what I touched on in the fan page was I used. Mike's probably familiar with Bobby D. Armand's A-automatic Camaro
Yes,
in
very much so.
So back in the day, 2001, he was trying to be the first stalker to go below 10 seconds flat, go 989. He chased that shit all over the country, Florida, Canada. This went on for a long time, trying to knock that ET down. He ended up knocking it down in Mission, British Columbia. Car went 997 at 129 and change.
Holy God.
That's efficient right there.
Yeah.
Damn, that's getting it
Yeah.
done.
So,
I got to do that math.
yeah. So
That's crazy.
and that's what I wanted to talk about. Was you talk about kind of the efficiency of the dream deal? That his car is the epitome of what's capable. Under ideal circumstances with an ideal combination.
Wow.
You can only get so much power out of a motor, and everywhere else has to have all the efficiency dead nuts on.
Yes, and there is no stone unturned when it comes to that car. That
No,
whole
there
combination.
can't be. That you can't get a run anymore. That did everything right. It had to. It had to.
Yep, exactly. So
He had the door gaps right. He had to.
Probably. Yeah, probably. So you don't get wind drag across.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Well, a lot of those guys will tape the hoods closed and try and do stuff like that, but
I actually thought that they made a rule about that.
they probably have. I haven't. As you know, I haven't really been active in stock and super stock for over 10 years. So.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. If you don't follow it, you're all of a sudden you're kind of out of some of it. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway, as far as Fireman Jeff's car goes, what did he run, like 132 or 134 or something?
Yeah, that's right. We're talking about with Jeff's
Yeah.
car. That's what started it because we were talking about FUD not
30,
being able to go as
32.
fast as he needed to. Yeah, he went 32 so far, and he's picked up 100 with using 85.
99.
90. Sorry.
So, long story short, if he really felt like it, that car could get in the high nines at that mile an hour. But, given the fact that the car's got the stock converter and street car, I think he's actually doing really well with it. I think it's about as good as you can expect.
Yeah, I didn't think 1070 was so bad at that mile an hour, knowing that it's a car you drive to the track.
Yeah, but it's bad. It's bad. Like when you do the
Sure, that stock converter is just not going to stick you worth of shit.
yeah, when you do like the hook factor calculation, which is a bullshit calculation, but it works. He's at a number that's kind of off the chart.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say there's something that couldn't be improved in it, but again, I go back to this is a fucking street car. He drove it there.
Yeah.
He drove it up. He drove it off the road onto the staging lane and made a pass.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great, but he had a lot of slippage somewhere, whether it was spin or torque converter or both. There was a lot of slippage somewhere.
Yeah, it's and I mean, I think the 60 on that. Didn't you say it was in the 1.5 range, like 1.5
No.
or 9?
Now Jeff's on here. I think he went I think his best was like a 170.
Yeah, 171.
Or maybe a
Yeah.
169, something like that.
Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that's converter and what the car will actually do.
Oh, 158.
158.
Okay, better than I thought. That must have been the one that he went to 70.
But still, 158 for that is awful.
It is heavy.
I don't know. Personally, I think 158 with a stock converter is amazing.
Well, Scott, the difference is these particular converters, like what's in his car, that's a CTSV converter kind of designed to work with the blower. So it's probably a little more efficient than, like, say, you and I would think about of an old school, stock torque converter. It's probably a little better.
Yeah. Yeah. Having background in the turbo Buick stuff, they called it their D5 converter was kind of that way too. They had tailored it a little bit, and it was just, I don't know, 2200 stall, something like that, a little bit more than, what you'd see traditionally in an NA car. But, I don't have experience with his particular combination, but man, I don't know, personally, I think it's running pretty damn good.
Yeah.
We all agree with that.
Combos.
We all agree with that, but there's something going on, whether it's a trans is slipping or.
No, dude, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
No.
I mean, like, I mean, you're gonna have Jeff fucking all neurotic. He's, oh my god, trans is shot, rear's missing half the teeth on the spider gear. So he's gonna go fucking nuts. It's not. I've been around this a long time too, and knowing how fast guys with street cars could go when they had good stuff, and things like Scott said, like converter. You take a guy that goes from a 10-inch that's just kind of a sort of street drive around, a little bit loose converter, and he puts an 8 3/4 in it, and all of a sudden, bam, he picks up like 6/10.
Yeah.
Jeff's thing for a factory converter, factory trans
it's great.
Yeah.
No, I'm not knocking any part of it.
And look, if it was super stock, he'd suck. He should never even go anywhere.
And it would suck if he put some kind of converter in it, because then it'd be a piece of shit to drive.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is really nice to drive.
I am definitely on board.
So stop hating on him.
I'm not hating at all. I'm just saying there's something
always
wrong.
So hard on him.
There's something wrong.
Starting to wonder about you.
I kind of did something similar to what he's got going on there. I had a 2005 GT, the Australian Pontiac, and it had a couple of small turbochargers on it. And I left the stock converter in it too, just because I drove it everywhere. My wife drives it. She threatened me within an inch of my life if I put some undrivable converter in it. And it showed in the ET. A car, here at altitude, we're like 4,500 feet. It went like 1202 at 120, 121.
Wow.
So a ton of mile an hour for that ET.
So the turbos didn't loosen that converter up that much, huh? Usually they do.
Little.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little. The problem was they just weren't ready to light off until about 3,200, which was well outside the stock converter range.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's what I wanted to call in about.
All right.
Answer your question on that. And
what's the temperature like out there in Utah?
Today kind of sucked. It's a little cold today, but it's been in the 60s.
Really?
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Better than here.
All right, go Trump.
Hey, I'll talk about that if you want.
No.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
No, because we're all trying very hard not to kill anybody.
Yeah.
And Tom's got to drive home, and he might see a Hillary bumper sticker, and then it's all over.
Yeah. And actually, we're trying to get you off the phone before Mogul calls.
Oh yeah.
No, seriously, Scott, man, call in whenever you'd like.
Yeah,
I mean,
thanks,
we appreciate it.
Sounds good. Talk to you guys later.
Go
See
Trump.
you,
Trump. Go Trump.
Oh man.
Gotta fuck with that poor guy.
He's
a good one.
I
He's
know.
all right.
I know he is.
So nobody makes a lock.
He's just confused. He'll get it. He'll get it together.
Eventually. What's that, Chad?
Nobody makes a lockup 8-inch.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I think they do, but they think they're all the crazy,
the
$5,000,
$7,500
to go with $9,000.
The billet torque converters, right?
Yeah. Jeff doesn't need that. His car is great.
But I could get him in the 9s.
I agree. I think it could probably go, like, just with everything that it has. First off,
it's going to go at 20 or something.
I think the 132 mile an hour is a little short. I think it would mile an hour a little better than that, because it like I told you, that thing, it started to, the way it was programmed, not picking on anybody the way they programmed it, but the entrance into the torque management in time, it would drop a bunch of timing because it was preparing to shift as he was like getting to the quarter mile.
Right.
So I think raising the shift point up a little bit probably would have netted him a mile an hour or two. So I guess when you look at that side of it, okay, let's say 133 or 134, I think that probably the most I would ever hope for on a street car like that, I mean, God, if it went at 1050, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
For me,
it'll go faster with that much more power.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, picking up what he picked up with the 85, yeah it's going to go a chunk faster.
Yeah. I would say it's going to go a 20-something.
I think that'd be damn nice.
Yeah. That's a fucking fast car, man.
And it doesn't look like anything. It looks like just a car.
It does.
He was fucking with a guy the other day, and a guy like had, I'm trying to think what he was fucking with. Was it a Dodge? Maybe he told me the story, but it was like over by him. And I'm sure the guy wasn't expecting this because it just doesn't look like it. You'd see that car. That's one of those cars that's like a kind of like a pretender. Like you look at the thing and you don't know if it's like a Camaro that's a V6 with dual exhaust.
Yeah.
You look at that thing and say, oh, look, a little V6 front wheel drive shitbox.
Yeah.
Because you don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's just, all these mid-sized kind of cars all kind of blurred together.
And then the next thing you know, you can't push the pedal any harder.
Yeah.
And you're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, for sure. It was a 300C.
Yeah.
I see that on Jeff's little text message there.
Yep.
All right. Well, anything else? What's going to go on for next week? We should talk about that.
Real Street Guy.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Yeah.
Does he have anything in particular that he'd like to talk about? I mean, is he primarily turbo guy?
He's a foodie.
Okay, well, then he'd be great with Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow or another, I think most people are not your kind of foodie.
No.
Yeah,
although I will tell you the Taco Bell fries, that was
I was
hats,
wrong.
Tip of the hat. That was okay.
Everybody's got to know that Mike called me up asking me for a recommendation at Taco Bell. So
tip of the hat. Fries were good. Okay. Interesting.
Good.
But I mean, turbocharger wise, you said he's
pretty
well versed in the turbo side of things. I'm actually, and I know it all works together, but I want to understand the turbine side more. I want to understand the exhaust side more.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what he knows. I was thinking about calling Grant from Precision or getting another turbo guy on. We'll work on that. But Mark's a good guy.
Okay.
He'll know a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff. And somebody was asking about the 2JZ show. It's next week. So be there.
The what?
2JZ. I mean, that's their specialty.
Okay.
I mean, they have a 7.0 Super.
Yeah. I know, but I mean, is this going to be geared mostly around 2JZ stuff?
No.
Okay.
It's going to be geared around anything. We can talk about turbos.
Well, I mean, look, a lot of it applies.
He's got a GTR. He's got a Supra. He's got a Ford Ranger.
Do you have a Chevy?
They're gun guys. Well, Gio's got a Corvette.
There you go.
A low 10-second Corvette.
Is it yellow?
Red. It's a nice car. It's going to be for sale. It's a badass car. If anybody wants to buy a Z06, man. C6, Z06.
Mine's out of warranty. When?
Really?
Next month or a month after?
Really?
Well done.
Magnuson.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what I do for that car. That's probably what I do because that would be fun.
That would be fun. Another 200 on it. Wow.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be okay. We can talk about that.
All right.
All right. Anything else from anyone else?
I did start listening to the Diesel podcast, the Diesel Turbo podcast.
Yes.
It's quite interesting listening to like how we're basically on, you like LS, you like old school, you like 2JZ, blah, blah, blah. The diesel guys, even the Cummins, you want first gen, second gen, third gen. The Fords, it's the 7.3s, the freaking 6.0s, which everybody seems to hate, even the Ford guys hate.
Here.
It's hilarious listening to it when they get the specialist on. He's like, listen, I'm a specialist on the Ford, but I'm telling you, it's got problems,
Well, how are those guys? Are they more technical than most? Because you know what the problem is? Like, I got to talk about this real quick. Mm-hmm. I wish I could remember.
It better be quick because we're talking about diesels now.
Listen, dude, you have to admit the diesel stuff is pretty bad.
They do some pretty impressive.
I know, it is pretty cool.
They're talking 600-700 horsepower on stock bottom ends. So.
Yeah, true.
There was some idiot on YouTube. Now look.
There's a lot of idiots on YouTube.
YouTube?
Okay, well, I found a real good one.
Okay.
Combing through, I could take this guy out of the bunch here. The 7.3 in the front of the motor has like a little cavity.
Right.
All right. That cavity is kind of fills up like a toilet bowl. There's no float. There's probably a better analogy for that, but it has a fill in and it has an overflow that runs out. So it maintains its level. You know, just like imagine like a fountain that has fills up and it bubbles over the edge and then the water goes away and recirculates and goes back. That's how that works. Okay. So this particular engine, that is engine oil. It comes from the engine and goes in there.
Mm-hmm.
The high pressure oil pump takes that oil, makes high pressure, fires the injector. This fucking idiot. This is why I don't like a lot of the diesel guys.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's equally as, stupid guys on the gas guy side.
Yeah, there are.
But this guy has a whole entire YouTube video detailing how to change your high pressure oil system oil.
Oh.
Like it's separate.
You know what? You'd like the podcast because they discuss that too. Not like this idiot, but like how it's that.
But you know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of like that dickhead that we remember. Who's the guy? Who were you talking to? When I brought up Busher, and the guy's like, "No." Who?
Oh, the Marco.
Okay. Well, the guy Dave that we always talked about, Laser Dave. He was that kind of guy.
Yeah.
He was like the guy full of all kinds of dumb ideas. He'd go post on a forum. He could write reasonably well, and people believed him. So here are these people looking at this guy, telling him how to change their high pressure oil in their diesel truck.
Like it's magic.
And I wanted to just, stab him in the eyeball with a screwdriver.
Yes.
So I mean, from what you said, this diesel podcast, look, we don't know the guys. I've never listened to it. Tad told me I should, and I will when I have a spare moment.
It is interesting.
No, you won't.
Yeah, I actually will, because they talk about like programming and stuff too, right?
That too. They have lots of programming, but each one has a specific. Well, no, there's like your programming. They have one that covers a lot of stuff you can get in. Then the others have specific, just for the Cummins, just for the Ford, just for the GM, and then they start getting into whose block breaks, what blocks break, why, who needs Carrillo rods. It's like.
Well, you have to admit, most of the guys that have these race cars, they also have a diesel truck that they pull them around with.
Well, that's most of the people. It's a diesel truck to pull their race car.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they get the bite, okay, let's take the truck on the track and beat somebody, and it just goes on and on and on.
All right. Well, everybody should listen to that. I'm going to check it out.
It's worth it.
And tell them we recommended them.
I was
At least Tad did.
They'll be happy.
In case they're morons.
Yeah.
I didn't recommend them yet, but Tad did.
Reserve.
Anyway.
All right. Anything else?
That's about it for me.
All right. Well, hopefully our exit music is working. Yeah, it sounds okay. I don't know. Guess we'll be back next week.
Next week, Real Street.
And
Be a good show.
Talk about turbos, 2JZs, whatever else you want to talk about.
They got a CTSV, everything, calibration,
All right.
whatever.
Good deal. All right. See everybody next week.